The signal came from deep space. It was weak, it was broken, but it was real. In the year 2247, a small listening station called Horizon's Edge floated near the edge of the solar system. Its job was simple. It listened to the stars. For 200 years, humans had been listening. They had heard nothing but silence. The universe seemed empty and cold. Then on a quiet Tuesday morning, everything changed. The computers at Horizon's Edge picked up something strange. It was not natural. It was not random noise from dying stars. It was a pattern, a message. Someone out there was trying to talk. The operators could not believe what they were seeing. They checked the data again and again. They ran every test they knew. The answer was always the same. This was a real signal from an alien species, and it was a cry for help. Within hours, the message reached Earth. Scientists worked through the night to understand it. The language was strange, but the meaning was clear. A ship was in trouble. Its crew was dying. They were begging anyone who could hear them to come and save them. The signal came from a species that called themselves They were a peaceful people from a distant star. Their planet was a gentle place with soft light and calm weather. They had never known war. They had never known hunters. They spent their long lives studying the stars and making beautiful art. But the galaxy was not a gentle place. A ship called Serenity's Call had been traveling through space when something terrible happened. A group of aliens called the had found them. They were slavers. They moved through the galaxy like sharks through water. They took what they wanted. They hurt whoever got in their way. And now they had found The Serenity's Call was crippled. Its engines were dead. Its weapons were broken. 847 were trapped inside, waiting for them to break through and take them away. In their final moments, they had sent a message into the darkness. They did not really believe anyone would answer. They just wanted someone to know they had existed. They did not know about Earth. Commander Minu was eating dinner when his phone rang. He was a quiet man with a calm face and steady hands. He had served in the United Earth Response Fleet for 20 years. He had seen many strange things, but the words he heard that night made him put down his chopsticks and stand up straight. Aliens were real, and they needed help. Minu did not waste time. He called his crew. Within 3 hours, they were all standing on the deck of their ship, the Iron Resolve. It was not the biggest ship in the fleet. It was not the prettiest. But it was fast and strong, and its crew was the best Minu had ever worked with. Lieutenant Park was his second in command. She was tall and sharp, and she never missed anything. When Minu explained the mission, she simply nodded and started making plans. Lee was the chief engineer. He was a large man with grease on his hands and a smile on his face. People said he could fix anything with wire and hope. He looked at the star maps and laughed. The distance was huge. The odds were bad. This was exactly the kind of problem he loved. Was the combat medic. She had gentle hands and cold eyes. She had saved hundreds of lives in her career. She had also taken many. In war, sometimes you needed to do both. Packed her medical kit and her weapons with equal care. Bay was the tactical officer. He was quiet and thin, and he thought about fighting the way artists thought about painting. He studied the enemy signal and started planning ways to hurt them. His plans were never safe. They were never careful, but they worked. The youngest member of the team was Han. She was only 25 years old, but she had a gift for languages. In just 6 hours, she had learned enough of the language to speak to them. She listened to the distress signal over and over. She heard the fear in their alien voices. She wanted to help them. Admiral O came to see them off. He was an old man with white hair and a back as straight as a steel beam. He had sent many ships into danger. He had lost many friends, but he had never stopped believing that some fights were worth fighting. He stood in front of the crew and looked at each of them. "The galaxy does not know us yet," he said. "They do not know what humans are. They do not know what we can do. They do not know what we believe." He paused. Today we show them. Today we introduce ourselves." The crew saluted. Then they boarded the Iron Resolve. The ship's engines came to life. They made a sound like thunder. The hull began to shake as power built up inside. On other worlds, this kind of speed would kill the crew. The force would crush their bodies. Their hearts would stop. Their bones would break. But humans were not from other worlds. Humans came from Earth, and Earth was a hard place. The Iron Resolve shot forward into the darkness. Behind it, Earth grew smaller and smaller until it was just another dot of light among billions. Somewhere out there, 847 aliens were waiting to die. They did not know that help was coming. They did not know that a small crew of strange creatures from a violent planet had heard their cry. They were about to find out what it meant when Earth answered. Commander Vila was tired. She had not slept in 3 days. Her 4 eyes were heavy and her long fingers shook as she held the railing on her bridge. Around her, her crew moved slowly. They were scared. They were hungry. They were running out of hope. The Serenity's call drifted through space like a dead leaf on water. Its lights flickered. Its air was getting thin. Through the windows, Vila could see the warship sitting in the darkness. It was huge and ugly and covered with weapons. They were waiting. They were playing with their food. Vila had sent the distress signal 5 days ago. No one had answered. She knew no one would. They were alone in this part of space. Their friends were too far away. The other species were too scared of them. No one was coming. Then a new ship appeared. It came out of nowhere. One moment there was empty space. The next moment there was a ship. It was small compared to the warship. It was dark gray with sharp edges. It looked like a knife. Vila's crew began to panic. They thought it was another enemy. They thought they had called for friends. But then the strange ship turned toward them and sent a message. "This is the Earth vessel Iron Resolve," a voice said. "We received your distress call. We are here to help." The bridge went silent. Vila did not understand. She had never heard of Earth. She had never seen these creatures before. She looked at her screen and saw the face of the speaker. What she saw made her hearts beat faster with fear. The creature was terrifying. It had only 2 eyes, but they faced forward like a hunter's eyes. Its body was thick with muscle. Its teeth were flat in the front but sharp in the back. Everything about it said danger. Everything about it said predator. And yet it was offering to help. "You came from your planet?" Vila asked. Her voice was shaking. "For us, we do not know you. We have nothing to give you." On the Iron Resolve, Lieutenant Park smiled. It was meant to be friendly, but smiling showed her teeth, and to any showing teeth meant you were about to attack. Did not know this yet. She would learn. "We do not need payment," said. "We heard you were in trouble, so we came." Vila could not understand this. In her experience, no one helped strangers. The galaxy was cold and cruel. Every species looked after itself. That was how things worked. That was how things had always worked. But these humans did not seem to know the rules. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, Commander Minu studied the situation. The warship was 3 times bigger than his ship. It had more guns. It had more shields. It had more soldiers. By any normal thinking, the humans could not win. Engineer Lee looked at the numbers and grinned. "Only 3 to 1, he said. "That is almost not fair for them." Specialist Han kept talking to them, trying to calm them down. She spoke their language with care, learning new words with every sentence. The aliens on the other ship were confused and scared, but they were also starting to hope. Maybe, just maybe, these strange creatures could really help them. Then the spoke. The commander was named. He was huge, even for his species. His scales were black and his eyes were yellow and cruel. He had taken hundreds of ships in his career. He had broken thousands of slaves. He looked at the tiny human ship and laughed. "Little vessel," said through the communication channel, "you have entered a hunting ground. Leave now and we will not chase you. Stay, and you will become cargo like the rest." Commander Minu stood up from his chair. He was not a big man. He was normal height for a human, but there was something in the way he moved that made people pay attention. He looked at the screen where his ugly face was waiting. "We are not leaving without those people," said. His voice was calm and steady. "And you are not taking anyone today." Stopped laughing. For a moment he looked surprised. Then his face twisted with anger. "You dare threaten me. You do not know what we are. You do not know what we can do." Nodded slowly. "You are right," he said. "We do not know each other, but that goes both ways. You do not know what we are. You do not know what we can do. And I think you are about to learn." He cut the communication. On the bridge, his crew looked at him. They were not scared. They were not nervous. They had been in fights before. They knew what was coming, and they were ready. "Battle stations ordered." The iron resolve came to life. Lights turned red. Weapons powered up. The crew strapped into their seats and checked their gear. The air felt electric. Tactical Officer Bay pulled up his screens. His eyes moved fast as he calculated angles and distances. "I recommend we attack first," he said. "Hit them before they can react. Take out their weapons, then their engines." Nodded. "Do it." On the Serenity's call, Commander Vila watched in shock. The tiny human ship was not running away. It was not trying to hide. It was flying straight toward the warship. It was attacking. "They are insane," Vila whispered. She did not know that on Earth there was a word for what the humans were doing. It was called courage. It was doing something dangerous because it was right. It was fighting even when you might lose. They had never needed courage. Their world had never tested them. They had grown up safe and soft under gentle stars. Humans had not. Humans came from a world that tried to kill them every day. They had learned to fight before they learned to speak. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. They had beaten everything their planet threw at them. And now they were about to show the galaxy what that meant. The iron resolve fired its first shot. The battle had begun. They had conquered many species. They had fought across 100 star systems. They thought they knew what battle looked like. They were wrong. The iron resolve moved like nothing they had ever seen. It was fast, too fast. It twisted and turned through space in ways that should have been impossible. The gunners tried to hit it, but their shots went wide. The human ship was always somewhere else. Inside the iron resolve, the crew felt the pressure of high-speed movement. Their bodies were pushed hard against their seats. Their blood rushed in strange directions. Any other species would have passed out. Any other species would have died. But humans were built different. Earth was what scientists called a Class 12 death world. This meant it was one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. Its gravity was crushing. Its sun threw out deadly radiation. Its weather changed without warning. Its plants and animals had spent billions of years learning to kill each other. Humans had survived all of this. They had become strong. They had become tough. And they had become very, very good at staying alive. Tactical Officer Bay watched his screens with calm focus. "First target in range," he said. "Firing now." The iron resolve's weapon spoke. Bright lines of energy crossed the darkness and hit the warship. The enemy's shields flickered but held. "Again," said. They fired again and again. Each shot was aimed perfectly. Each shot hit exactly where it would do the most damage. The shields began to weaken. Commander roared orders at his crew. His ship was bigger. His guns were stronger. Why was this little human ship still alive? He ordered all weapons to fire at once. The space around the iron resolve filled with deadly light. But the human ship danced through the fire like a leaf in wind. "Now," Commander said quietly. Engineer Lee pressed a button. 4 small pods shot out from the iron resolve and flew toward the ship. Inside each pod were human soldiers. They crossed the gap between ships in seconds and slammed into the enemy hull. Plasma torches cut through metal. Doors were forced open. Humans poured into the warship like water through a broken dam. Combat Medic led the first team. She was not a large woman. She came up to the chest of most warriors, but she moved with deadly speed and her aim was perfect. The first soldier who tried to stop her dropped before he could raise his weapon. "Move forward," she ordered her team. "Find the prisoners." They had never faced humans in close combat before. They learned fast that this was a mistake. The humans did not get tired. The warriors were strong, but after an hour of fighting, they began to slow down. The humans did not. They just kept coming, kept fighting, kept pushing forward. The humans did not stop when they got hurt. One soldier took a deep cut to her arm. She wrapped it with a quick bandage and kept fighting. Another soldier was thrown against a wall hard enough to crack his ribs. He got up, took a breath, and went back into the fight. They could not understand this. When they were hurt, they retreated. When they were tired, they rested. That was normal. That was sane. Humans were not normal. Humans came from a world where stopping meant dying. Their bodies knew how to push through pain. Their minds knew how to ignore fear. They had a chemical in their blood called adrenaline that made them faster and stronger when danger was close. It looked like madness. To humans, it was just Tuesday. Engineer Lee fought his way to the enemy engine room. He had a rifle in one hand and a computer pad in the other. Two warriors attacked him at the same time. He shot one and broke the other's knee with a kick. Then, while the warrior was falling, connected to the enemy computer system and began typing. "Engine shut down in 30 seconds, he announced through his radio. "They are not going anywhere." On the Iron Resolve, Lieutenant Park coordinated the attack. She watched everything through dozens of screens. She moved teams like pieces on a game board. She found weak points and sent soldiers to break them. "Team 3, go left. Team 1, hold position. Team 4, the door ahead of you is unguarded. Go now." Commander watched his crew work. He felt pride, but he did not let it distract him. The battle was not over yet. "Where is their commander?" he asked. "Bridge level," replied. "Heavy guards." Nodded, "I will go myself." He took 5 soldiers and moved into the ship. The hallways were full of smoke and the sounds of fighting. Bodies lay on the floor. Human soldiers moved past them without looking. They found on the bridge. The commander was waiting for them. He was even bigger in person. His claws were long and sharp. His armor was thick. "You think you can beat me, little creature," growled. "I have killed things 10 times your size." Did not answer with words. He just attacked. The fight lasted 11 minutes. It was not clean. It was not pretty. Was strong and fast, and he knew how to fight, but was a human. He did not give up. He did not slow down. Every time knocked him down, he got back up. In the end, lay on the floor with 6 broken bones. Stood over him, breathing hard but still standing. "You are beaten," said simply. The commander looked up with shock in his yellow eyes. He had never lost before. He did not know how to understand it. "What are you?" he whispered. Looked at him with calm eyes. "We are human," he said. "We are from Earth, and we do not like bullies." Across the ship, the last warrior surrendered. The battle was over. The humans had won. In the holding cells, Combat Medic found the prisoners. They were huddled together in fear. When they saw her, they cried out. She was covered in blood. Her eyes were sharp. She looked like a nightmare. Then she knelt down beside a small child who was hurt. Her hands became gentle. Her voice became soft. "It is okay," she said. "You are safe now. We came to take you home." The child looked at her with wide eyes. It did not understand the words, but it understood the touch. It understood the kindness. For the first time in days, the child stopped crying. The battle was over. The warship floated dead in space. Its engines were broken. Its weapons were silent. Over 400 warriors had died. The rest had given up. They sat in groups with their hands on their heads, watching the humans with fear in their eyes. They could not believe what had happened. For days, they had waited to die. For days, they had thought there was no hope. Now they were being walked out of their cells by strange creatures who spoke their language badly but smiled at them with friendly eyes. The humans had lowered the gravity on their ship. They had dimmed the lights. They had made food that could eat. They were doing everything they could to make the scared aliens feel safe. Commander Vila was brought to the bridge of the Iron Resolve. She walked slowly. Her legs were weak from days without proper food. Her hearts were beating fast because she was about to meet the human commander. She had seen humans fight. She knew what they could do. Part of her was still afraid. Commander Minu was sitting in his chair when she arrived. He stood up to greet her. He did not make sudden moves. He spoke slowly so the translator could keep up. "Commander Vila," he said, "welcome to the Iron Resolve. Are your people being treated well?" Vila nodded slowly. She looked at. He was not very tall. He was not very big. But there was something about him that made her feel like she was standing next to a dangerous animal that had chosen to be calm. "Your people are taking good care of us," she said. "We are thankful, but I do not understand." "What do you not understand?" Vila spread her 4 hands in a gesture of confusion. "Everything. Why did you come? We are strangers to you. We are weak. We cannot help you. We cannot pay you. We have no value to you." Thought about this question. He looked out the window at the stars for a long moment. "You asked for help," he said finally, "and we could help, that is all." Vila's translator beeped. It was struggling with the idea. The words were simple, but the meaning behind them was not. "No species does this," Vila said. "In my experience, the galaxy is cold. Everyone looks out for themselves. There is no profit in saving strangers. There is only risk." Lieutenant Park stepped forward. She had been listening quietly. "We know the galaxy is cold," she said. "We come from a cold place too. Our world is dangerous. Our history is full of war and death. We have hurt each other badly over the years." Vila tilted her head. "Then why help us?" Smiled. This time she was careful not to show too many teeth. "Because we learned something. We learned that the only way to survive is to help each other. When we stopped fighting and started working together, we became stronger, much stronger. We think the same might be true for the galaxy." Specialist Hen came to stand beside. She was young, with a round face and kind eyes. Vila found her less frightening than the others. "On our world," said, "we have a saying, no one should face darkness alone. When we heard your signal, we did not think about what we could gain. We thought about what we could give." Vila was quiet for a long time. She was trying to fit this into her understanding of how the universe worked. It was like trying to fit a round stone into a square hole. "Your world made you into weapons," she said slowly. Nodded, "Yes. And you choose to be shields instead." "When we can." Vila looked around the bridge. She saw humans working at their stations. She saw them talking and laughing with each other. One of them was bandaging a wound on another's arm. The hurt one was making jokes about being clumsy. These creatures had just fought a terrible battle. They had faced death, and now they were laughing. "I do not think we will ever fully understand you," Vila said. Smiled. "That is okay. We do not fully understand ourselves most of the time, but we are trying to be better. That is what matters." News of the battle spread fast. The galaxy had many ways of sharing information. Within days, everyone knew what had happened. A strange new species called humans had appeared. They had answered a distress call from the weak. They had fought the feared. They had won. Reactions were mixed. Some species were curious. They wanted to meet these humans. They wanted to trade with them. They wanted to learn their secrets. Some species were worried. They were strong. If humans could beat them, what else could humans do? What would stop these new creatures from becoming the next great threat? And some species, the ones who did bad things in dark corners of the galaxy, became very afraid. They had heard the stories. They had seen the recordings. They had watched humans take hits that would kill other species and keep fighting. They had seen humans charge into impossible odds without hesitation. They knew that if they ever got the attention of Earth, they would be in deep trouble. On the Iron Resolve, the humans did not think about any of this. They were too busy taking care of their guests. Engineer Lee worked with technicians to fix their damaged ship. He learned their engineering methods. They learned his. By the end, both sides had new ideas. Combat Medic set up a small hospital for the hurt. She was patient and gentle. She learned which medicines worked for their bodies. She taught them simple first aid that could help if they ever got in trouble again. Lieutenant Park spent time with the children. She taught them simple games. At first, the children were confused. They did not understand playing for fun. On their world, every activity had a purpose, but showed them how to just have fun, and soon their strange musical laughter filled the ship. Commander sat with Commander Vila every evening. They talked about their worlds. They talked about their histories. Vila learned about Earth's wars and disasters. She learned about human courage and human cruelty. She learned that humans were complicated, capable of great good and great evil. "Which will you choose?" she asked one night. Looked at her. "We are still choosing, every day, every decision. We try to choose good. We do not always succeed, but we keep trying." Vila nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand these strange creatures. They were not heroes from a story. They were not perfect. They were just people doing their best in a hard universe. Maybe that was enough. "I think," Vila said carefully, "that the galaxy is about to change." Looked out at the stars. "I think you are right." The journey to the took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of travel through dark space. 3 weeks of two species learning about each other. They learned many things about humans. Some of these things scared them. Some of these things amazed them. Some things did both at the same time. They learned that humans only slept for a few hours each day. This meant humans were awake and active almost all the time. To those who slept for half their day, this seemed exhausting and a little frightening. They learned that humans ate meat. They killed other creatures and consumed their bodies for energy. They were plant eaters. They had never imagined that intelligent beings could be predators. When they saw humans eating in the dining hall, they had to look away. They learned that humans could heal from terrible injuries. One human soldier had broken his arm during the battle. They expected him to be weak for months. Instead, he was doing exercises with that same arm just 2 weeks later. His bones were already mending themselves. But they also learned good things. They learned that humans made music. Not just simple sounds, but complex, beautiful songs that could make you feel joy or sadness or hope. One night, Specialist Hand sang an old Earth song for the children. They did not understand the words, but they understood the feeling. Some of them cried. They learned that humans kept pets. These were other creatures that humans lived with, not for food or work, but just for company. The concept was strange to them at first. Why care for something that gave you nothing in return? But then they saw pictures of humans with their cats and dogs, and they saw the love in the humans' eyes. They began to understand. They learned that humans made art just for beauty. They painted pictures that served no purpose. They wrote stories that had no practical use. They danced just because moving felt good. They had art too, but it was always tied to ceremony or teaching. The idea of creating beauty just because you wanted to was new and wonderful. And they learned that humans laughed, a lot, even in hard times, even after battle, especially after battle. The humans would sit together and share jokes and laugh until their eyes watered. They did not understand most of the jokes, but they came to love the sound of human laughter. It sounded like hope. When they came into view, the crew of the Iron Resolve gathered at the windows. The planet was beautiful. Its sky was pale pink. Its lands were covered in soft blue forests. Its oceans were calm and shallow. "It looks peaceful," Lieutenant Park said. "It is," Commander Vila replied. She was standing beside them, looking at her home with tears in her eyes. We have never known war. We have never needed to. I used to think that made us advanced. Now I think it just made us lucky." Commander put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Luck is not a bad thing, and peace is something to protect, not something to be ashamed of." Thousands of ships had gathered in orbit. They had come to see the return of the lost vessel. They had come to see the strange aliens who had saved their people. The Iron Resolve moved into position. It was a small gray ship among the delicate silver vessels of the fleet. It looked rough and harsh in comparison, but to the who knew what it had done, it looked beautiful. A message came through from the planet below. It was from the High Council, the leaders of their species. "Humans of Earth," the message said, "we do not have words for what you have done. You came from the darkness. You fought our enemies. You asked for nothing in return. We do not understand you, but we want to try." There was a pause. "The collective offers its friendship to your world. We hope you will accept." On the bridge, Specialist hand translated the message for everyone. When she finished, there was silence. This was a big moment. First contact was one thing, but friendship between species was something else entirely. Commander looked at his crew. Lee was grinning, had tears in her eyes. Bay was nodding slowly. Park was already thinking about the future. "Tell them we accept," said, "and tell them this is just the beginning." The Iron Resolve stayed in orbit for 3 days. During that time, the humans worked together to create the first agreements between their peoples. There would be trade. There would be cultural exchange. There would be learning on both sides. On the last night, Commander Vila came to say goodbye to Commander. They stood together on the observation deck, looking down at her beautiful world. "The will come back," Vila said. "They do not forget their defeats. They will want revenge." "Probably," agreed. "Are you not afraid?" Thought about the question. "Fear is natural," he said. "Every species feels it, even humans. The difference is what you do with fear. You can let it control you, or you can use it to make yourself stronger. And if you cannot be strong, turn to look at her. Then you find friends who can be strong for you. That is what allies are for." Vila's 4 eyes blinked. "Is that what we are now, allies?" "I hope so. Even though we are weak, even though we cannot fight like you." Smiled. "You are not weak. You are different. You know things we do not know. You see beauty we cannot see. You have peace we have never known. That has value too." Vila was quiet for a long moment. Then she made a gesture with her hands that did not recognize. "This is a sign of deep gratitude," she explained. "We give it only to those who have touched our lives forever. You have changed everything, Commander, not just for me, for my whole species, for the whole galaxy." Returned the gesture, as best he could with only 2 hands. "We did what anyone would do," he said. Vila shook her head. "No, you did what humans do. That is not the same thing, and I think the galaxy is about to learn the difference." The next morning, the Iron Resolve fired its engines and began the long journey home. Behind it, the watched until the ship was just a tiny dot of light. Then it was gone. But the universe had changed. A new species had arrived on the galactic stage. They were from a deadly world. They were built for violence. They had teeth and claws and blood that burned with strange chemicals. And they had chosen to use all of that power to answer a cry for help from strangers. They would come back. Other threats would appear. The galaxy was still a cold and dangerous place, but now there was something new in it. Now there was hope. Because somewhere out there, circling a small yellow star, was a planet full of humans, and they had decided that no one should face darkness alone. The galaxy was just beginning to understand what that meant.